Have you ever stopped to wonder what makes someone truly persuasive? What really makes them influential? It's often not what we think. It's more like a hidden system, a kind of machinery working behind the scenes. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and unlock the real frameworks behind influence. We're going way beyond the simple tips and tricks to get at the real mechanics of it all. Okay, take a look at this. This little script right here, it's designed to get you a free coffee. Pretty much anywhere you go. It almost feels like a magic spell, right? A specific sequence of words that just unlocks a yes. And from what I hear, it works a surprisingly huge amount of the time. But here's the million-dollar question. Is the power really in the words themselves? I mean, think about it. If you gave this exact script to someone who was super nervous or just completely lacked confidence, would they get the same result? Nah, probably not. And that right there, that reveals the real secret. And this brings us to our first really big idea. True influence isn't about memorizing a bunch of lines. It's about developing the skills underneath it all. Like it says, it's not about the script, it's about the pilot. Think about it this way. I could hand you the official pre-flight checklist for a Boeing 737. That is a perfect step-by-step script for how to take off. But would you feel comfortable actually getting in the cockpit and flying that plane? Of course not. Because you need the skills of a pilot, not just a list of instructions. Well, persuasion, it works the exact same way. Now check out this breakdown. It's a really fascinating way to look at influence. A massive 80%, that huge chunk of the chart, it all comes down to who you are. Your confidence, your charisma, your whole vibe. Only 15% is what you do, the specific tactics or words you use, and a tiny little 5% is about the other person. The big takeaway here is that the vast majority of persuasive power is already inside your own control. Okay, so if influence is so much about our own skills, what are those skills actually working on? Well, the answer is this kind of hidden programming that we all run on, these automatic patterns of behavior that guide us without us even realizing it. They're called life scripts. So, a life script is really just a predictable pattern of behavior, Think about it. When you order coffee or sit down in a classroom, or even just say hello to a coworker, you're probably following a script you've rehearsed 1,000 times. These patterns pretty much govern how we act and react in almost every social situation we're in. And every single one of these life scripts breaks down into 3 core elements. First up, you've got perception, which is really all about how your emotions are shaping how you see the situation. Next is context, which is just the environment you're in. And finally, there's permission, which is the social license you feel you have to behave in a certain way. These 3 things are the building blocks for all those automatic patterns we follow. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Because these patterns are so predictable, they can actually be influenced. You can learn to spot the script someone is running, intentionally break that pattern, and then guide the interaction somewhere new. This is what we call hacking a script. So, how do you actually do it? What's the secret? Well, the universal tool for snapping someone out of that autopilot mode is one simple thing: novelty. The moment you do or say something unexpected, their brain shuts down the routine program and starts paying very close attention to what's happening right now, and more importantly, to you. And this all builds up to a practical 4-step formula. Step 1, figure out your goal. What do you actually want out of this interaction? Step 2, identify the emotion you need to get there. Is it curiosity, trust, maybe excitement? Step 3, actively create that emotion using stories or questions or your actions. And finally, step 4, once they're feeling that emotion, you can gently steer the conversation and the interaction towards your goal. This brings us to a really powerful, systematic framework that kind of ties everything together. Think of it like a diagnostic tool for figuring out any social situation. It's all based on 6 key factors that are always at play when people make decisions. And here they are, the 6 axes. You can think of them like dials you can read in any conversation. Their suggestibility, how open is someone to a new idea? Focus, are you actually holding their attention? Openness, are they comfortable being a bit vulnerable? Connection, what's the level of rapport between you two? Compliance, how likely are they to say yes? And finally, expectancy. Are they expecting a good outcome from this? And here's the key. You don't need all 6 of these cranked up to 100. You usually just need to elevate 3 of them.
So, for example, in car sales, you'd probably prioritize expectancy, getting the customer really excited about driving off in that new car. But for public speaking, your number one job is to grab the audience's focus. See, the framework is flexible. It's all about knowing which levers to pull for the situation you're in.
So let's bring all of this home. The real art of persuasion, at the end of the day, isn't about finding some magic bullet or the perfect line. It's about making that shift from just using tactics to truly mastering a fundamental skill. Let's go all the way back to that free coffee script we started with. Now we can see it's not magic at all. It's just a tool, like one little dial on the dashboard. And it's a tool that only works in the hands of a skilled pilot, someone who understands the barista's life script, who gets the framework of the 6 axes, and most importantly, who knows how to pilot themselves through that interaction with confidence.
So here's the ultimate takeaway. You now see the hidden code running behind our social interactions. You understand that pretty much every conversation is, in its own way, a kind of script. So the only question left is, now that you can see the program, what conversations are you going to choose to rewrite?